Good morning, friends. Allow me to continue from where I left off yesterday. The main topic that was covered yesterday is that you should have a way of conceiving a product, some concept development, and a way of expressing it to your group members. We have an issue about it, whether you are planning a get together or whether you are planning to do something in your own group or anything, you notice that people have different views in the way we express them in words, gesticulations, that is your body language, and I do not know, maybe the way the syntax. All this does not get carried as well as we wanted him. What we wanted to say is not exactly what we say finally, when our words have a different effect on the other things. Unlike this, if you have a visual method of presentation like typically a sketches and all that, with a little bit of explanation, you will notice that the chances of your idea getting understood by others is very, very high. And second thing is, as you are trying to sketch or as you are trying to make things will become clearer for you. The moment you wanted to write something, you will know, oh, there is something, this detail is missing. And then so if you can get back to my yesterday's that what do you call that, lamp exercise. If you see this lamp exercise, very conveniently we have written switch is ergonomically designed so that it is easy to use. We have a little problem about it, saying ergonomically designed. Strictly by definition of ergonomics, it is about economy of energy saving and all that. So does it make sense to have a rocker switch, or does it make sense to have a push button here? Do I like to push it here? Now what if I press my push button from the top? Then the existing push buttons will be a little longer than what we would like to use in that case. So suddenly your things get clearer and clearer as you see, and then you have seen that can be used for studying. As it is pointed out, you will notice, as it is pointed out, it is noticed that there is a black thing here, probably it is a black rubber which has been added subsequently, saying weight is one thing, weight is the one, base will be large and heavy, weight is one thing, and this anti-skid small rubber will probably enhance the product much beyond normal usage. So sketching helps us in trying to communicate and also clarify our own ideas. If you remember, I left you last saying that you should see this creativity tools. So if you go to creatingminds.org, which these things have been taken, I would like to acknowledge the what you call good effort they have put in trying to maintain these things. We have a large number of, you see here, we have a very large number of techniques that are used here. So one of them is this doodling. Let your subconscious do the drawing. So the next slide talks to you about what is it, when do you use it? Use it any time you want to think a little creatively, not in a specific creative environment. So it looks funny, but me, a lecturer, trying to tell people, probably sitting in a classroom may not be the most creative thing when you have to concentrate what the teacher is saying. Deliberate creative tool. So the issue is saying you can do it anytime. There is no issue about it at all, and then other benefits are there. Now coming back to that slide here, so many of these things are listed here, and each of this is also a little explained here. It is up to you to go and see what best you can make out of it. Now I will get back to one of the examples which I have taken yesterday about this lamp. Now if you can have a look at this beautiful LED based table lamp. First of all, one of the first things, it is too light, chances are it will trip, and then we said we can improve it dramatically by probably adding these cells in it. That was the exercise I suggested you do. Take this, what is called 18650 cells which are inside, make your good estimate of how well these things can be packed inside and make something which is a little stronger and a little more stable. And just before I have highlighted that maybe if we just make it like this, it is still not skid proof. So, can you put an anti-skid, some coating or something about it, and then most of the places it seems to be quite alright. Only thing is, one thing which I have deliberately avoided talking to you yesterday is we are forced to have a charging socket. You see here, I have a charging socket here. It has two things. One of them is this charger socket utilizes a solar panel. So, I have a solar panel here. You have seen this, the solar panel. I think it is not a big deal about it. Actually, they are cells connected properly in a series parallel combination, and then finally, when they are connected, in the end you have all these jumbles of wires. Seen this? Oh, huge amount of wires. Now, this is not a very good thing. It makes sense only in one condition. The only condition it makes sense is when the solar panel needs to be placed away from this where you need to use it and you need to charge it and all this. Then as we often find out the hard way, the more you have this small what you call the shining pokey thing, no, which we call a loosely called a jack, they seem to be prone to lose connections and eventually wear out. Is there a way of integrating both of these so that it can be used in all environments? So, I was talking to you yesterday saying that there was this initiative launched by somebody saying one child, one light. So, somebody like you decided that if a child has his own personal light, maybe he is interested in going around and trying to learn, things will be much better. To start with, this is a beautiful novelty. This novelty ensures that people take it easily, and then you see several elements have been put on it saying, first of all, it stays neatly. Okay, most places it stays without any problem, and then you have a handle. We have a nice carry handle, and then there is a beautiful stitch here. You hold it, you see here, it is quite bright. It in fact lights up the various things. It is bright enough to light up a room. Right now, because of this I will say limelight, you can't see the thing, and then it has a long life LED lamp. The most important part of it is at the back of it, it is integrated with a small solar, what do you call, a simple solar panel, that is a solar battery having individual cells, and there is the rechargeable lithium ion cell also is included in it. In normal course, even if water splashes on it, it is not likely to get damaged. We have a beautiful product here which combines several of the features the designer wanted to incorporate. This is not a matter of just taking a solar panel and then taking a solar panel, buying an LED and sticking it up to that. It does not help, it is still no, it is still a mess of these wires, and at the back we have a serious problem with the solar panels. If it has to be a place where it has to be charged, you end up with a long wire. If it is a place which is close, this wire is redundant. Now, do you end up with adding extenders? You add a small extender and so on. It makes sense in some conditions, which where I thought I will help you with this. If you have a look at this, have a look at this. You see here, this one is very interesting, carry along small novelty item. Then there is something which is a little like a switch here. It is actually a touch switch. I can make it change color, I can make it brighter, I can make it softer. You have seen this, all sorts of colors are there, and it has a beautiful handle. In this condition, probably that solar thing helps, and it uses the same socket. But these days, you see that USB, the ubiquitous USB mini and micro have come into things. So, it has that, and then it has a beautiful curved handle. So, in the normal case, you can probably carry it, keep it around. This too is still a rechargeable lamp, except that it is a night lamp. Some of you have been in this field will probably recognize that Philips made one of their most beautiful lamps like this. Look it up, and it gradually like brightens up your room, and then it gives the noises which you like and so on. Now I will go back to other products which my students have made. We seem to do what is called academic activity all the time, and the focus of the academic activity seems to be having coffee and tea. So, we have a teacup. Due to some various reasons, I had to detach the handle. It had a handle once upon a time. I had to detach the handle, and we drink coffee all the time. In fact, coffee with best friend for life. These are allegories and expressions or idioms which we use all the time. Is there a way of me to have hot tea or coffee? That is the focus of it. This was given to some students who have taken this course. Then by proper analysis, they have ended up with various options. One of the options is, normally if you were to have a normal USB socket anywhere, a USB socket like what you will find at the end of this, it is not capable of giving more than around 5 volts 500 milliamps. They are also advised in fact to keep it to about 350 milliamps, so that in the unlikely case of some problem, the computer USB source will not get destroyed. Now can we make boiled tea with it, or tea steeped for a short time? Tea steeping is you put the tea in the bag in that and all that. So there are things already existing and nothing much about it. You have it everywhere. You just go to, I do not know, maybe Amazon or anything, you have these beautiful objects. This has that USB things around, and then it has a hot plate on top. Then there are also some indicators, and then you have these USB sockets all around, and something related to this is we have a switch, and then there is also a separate source power supply for it. So, if you look at this object, you will notice that various things they try to optimize in this. I will show it back to you here. Various items they wanted you to optimize in this. One of them is saying, I make this top portion such that sits snugly with it. So, if I were to get any hot beverage, in the case of as I said tea or coffee or chocolate or I do not know what else people have, once it is hot you keep it on this and then probably add a cover also to this. Then you can take a little longer than required. Is it not? Maybe it will last a session, at least 15 minutes you can use it. What if you have to make tea with it? How can you have 5 volt supply, maximum 400 milliamps, that is you have 2 watts, and even if you parallel it, maximum can you get 4 watts. Is it possible for us to do something so that I start with cold water or water which is available in a hot water tap or faucet or kitchen sink, where is a little normally it will be a little above ambient, maybe around 50 degrees, but for us to drink we need around 70 or 80. When this problem was posed to our students, or one of the students chose the problem, he came out with this beautiful device saying, can we have a coffee maker with, it has the elements of all this, it has a hub, has a heater and all that. So there are 4 of them, and then you notice here heater can keep beverage coffee or tea hot, takes power directly. Coffee or tea warm at 70 to 80, also used as a hub, USB powered, no batteries, rated power is only 2.5 watts, limited. Since energy is fixed, the only choice is to use. From here onwards, they have tried their best. They have tried their very, very best. One of the first thing is, can we have a material which closely heats this all around? If this were to be the cup, is there something which will, instead of just heating it only at the bottom, something which does here. So, this other cup which has come with it has a little problem. One of the first problems is it sits, then it is thin. So, chances are it will lose what you call heat to the ambient. Same thing in this case, this is an insulated double walled stainless steel, or I mean maybe it is a combination of anything. There is a small seam here, next time you have a look at it, but the only disadvantage is this has a flat surface and that one has a slightly dimpled surface for various practical reasons. So, this sits well and it can conduct heat, while this cannot conduct heat because of the very peculiar nature of the dimple here. So, a student set about saying what best we can do. One of them is make sure that the heat goes well inside, make something at least so partly it will be able to do, and then the external should be insulated. They should be insulated and not insulated also, meaning heat should go inside and it should not go outside. There is such a thing possible, maybe if you have a what do you call phase change liquid inside, it will like evaporate on the outside, go and condense inside, but in the normal conditions, since outside is warmer than inside, it will not directly transfer the heat. Now, coming back to this, high thermal conductive is used for the heater plate. The base of it is used with highly thermal conductive, same with this. Secondly, heater used below it in a spiral way to increase the heating area. So, we have put no leakage of heat to the ambient from the other things. You see, the final product has few elements which I think we need to appreciate from the student's point of view. First thing you notice here, this is no longer a cylindrical piece, okay, not a cylinder here, in fact there is a taper. This taper ensures that when you put something like one tumbler into a tumbler which loosely call a glass, a glass by definition is made of glass. So, a steel container used for drinking water is probably a steel tumbler. So, if you put an aluminum tumbler into this, normally it will try to get the maximum contact. And if the tumbler, imagine if this is a tumbler, we can probably have a grip a little like this, and then probably have a flip top cap onto this. Now, having done this, we have improved one of the first areas, that is the contact with the heater has been improved dramatically. Now comes to the next important point, saying when you have only around 2 watts to dissipate or to heat, how to increase it. So, this also comes with inbuilt battery. Nowhere we said it should be you just connect it to the computer, immediately it should start heating. You just leave it connected to one of the USB things, and then you build enough logic saying if the total some other device is drawing the power, make sure that this gets switched off. So, we have a beautiful product here finally, where electricity is stored inside in a storage battery, and the storage battery need not be here part of it because it is not expected to be portable. I will not mind having a small bigger storage battery, maybe a 6 volts 4 or 5 ampere hour nickel, I am sorry, not nickel cadmium, this lead acid battery, or now replacements are there, or we go for the ubiquitous now 18650 lithium ion cells. So, we have what was continuously 4 watts can now be stored. The amount of energy, the rate of heating is not a critical issue anymore. You just store the total amount of calories that are required. And then after having done this, the students have tried to improve for its packaging and then heating. Additional features can be added such as a space heater by some modification. Having done this, now I will go on to the next, I will say objects which all of us need it. For example, I am one of those people who lose time if I am at a particular either expressing a thought or reading a book or gathering information. All the time I need not look at my watch like this. In fact, fortunately for me, there are some people who enjoy listening to my voice other than myself. So, the thing is, once I start practicing for an examination, this is how one of the students has thought about this, and then our original thing was saying, why don't you carry a timer like this? While it looks nice, isn't it? It is very jarring. The moment the time is over, very jarring time it gives, and then it really doesn't show me unless I look at it, and I cannot have what is called a lap time. There is no lap time in these things. These are simple mechanical timers. The next timer is, usually you will find it on the front panels of old warmers, heaters, toasters, where two things are there. One is a switch which controls the power level, another is this particular device which is again a mechanical timer. Yeah, you can probably hear it in the feed. Seen that in the feed you can hear the clicking. Now at the back we have all these various things, and then I put a switch and then try to put it, but you see still it is a very unsightly device. And main problem is I cannot hold the time, and then at the end of the time I get a jarring note. So, this batch of students, they decided to work on something which is very, very useful for a student. So, now if you look at my PPT slides, even the word and the logo and the shape, they have played a lot on it. An ergonomic pen and pen stand with a timer. The idea being, as the slide projector goes on, you have seen the beautiful, what I say, the form. It is handy, really handy, and they have played tremendously with the logo and the whole positioning, and you see how this is anything. Can you see here? Small elements are here, small black stuff. There is something here. Then there is something here. Then it has a pointer. Then it has what you call some switches, and then you see the form. It has a very good ergonomic or something which fits your hand very well. So they want about trying to understand, can we take cues from nature? Yes, nature is not a geometric thing like what we think. There are no straight lines in nature, even in the matter of perspective, because of your finite what do you call angle of view, you end up with vanishing lines everywhere. Wherever you look, lines will go and vanish to one point. So, strictly speaking, parallelism is not maintained. Similarly, any object you see here, of course, this is a special somebody has placed down in a stairway. It is a stairway, and then you have various things here, and then you have a most important here is something which is a quill. And then some of you may remember we have all this bamboo and reed furniture, then you have surfaces here, then you see all this beautiful, these spirals, even the spirals in nature are supposed to be following the so called Fibonacci series. So, the issue is it is all organic, and flows are always natural and curved. So, they played on it and came out with this nice thing. So, we have a actual pointer here which is a pen. It could be a ball pen, a ballpoint pen like a big or it could be just a pointer which you can have. And finally, this is the object that has been made. I will leave a little time for you, just read it yourself. Read this left part and then read the right part. I will read it in my own thing. hope you have finished reading it. One of the features which you would have missed at the first point is that you have two LEDs here. If you go back again in the slideshow, you see here it is standing on a stand, and the stand is integral with it. You see these two black things, probably there is a small depression here, and then they go back and sit here. There is a provision for the thing to sit there, and then it will light up your table. And then even if you see the name Lumi, Lumi has two parts of it. One is saying it illuminates, another is it enlightens you. It is a, eventually you will become a luminary. Whole thing has been played on it, and then it is aesthetic. And then you see several series of buttons, and there is a timer and all that. So probably in the succeeding slides they have explained what would be the thing. This is where, why I included it is, in this particular lecture you need to practice your skills. It is tough. These are of course made by product design students, and already they have been, they enjoy this, and then they have been brought here, and then they were one of a group of 4 or 5 people who, one of them concentrated on the form development. You see here, no, tremendous amount of form. Right side, these views, these are all about the writing instruments, including other option for it. These are all about the base unit. How should the base unit look? And then what should the base unit have? Getting better? I will go to the feature. Somehow a unique foldable tripod like design to balance the pen, artistic design with flashing LEDs, and the top no ergonomically designed pen, and it does not read well. Convertible from a bright LEDs while reading. Pen stand embeds a digital timer for monitoring your time while reading or prepare for presentations, which I feel is a very, very critical issue about it. Electronics is here. So they have given a few more details. One of them is, we have LEDs, then important is this driver circuitry, then there is a timer, and then there is a stopwatch switch. The stopwatch circuit helps you in pacing your work. These days when you want to pass exams, which is real, you need to be fast. It probably, given enough time, I too can solve problems, but within the allotted time of around 60 to let us say maximum 180 seconds, I have to quickly select what is likely to be a better answer. So we do not have much time. So this particular thing also has a stopwatch circuit, meaning it will give you a lap type of time, saying you can use a lap time or you can have cumulative time, and then there are various stuff to use, and then you have a small screen here which will show you the time. Then they have given the power supply, and then there is a small battery for the actual stand, and then you have the timer itself needs something to keep track of the time. It should not reset it here.